Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our final Ask a Trainer of 2020. My name is Steve Kopas. I'm the head athletic therapist at Seneca College. Today, I'm going to be talking with Mike Brain, one of our fitness coordinators, and we'll be talking a little bit about ankle braces, just bracing in general. We'll talk about ankle braces, knee braces, maybe some shoulder braces, etc. Edwin, how we doing? Hi, everyone. So we're just waiting on Mike to join in here with us, and then we'll get started talking about the bracing and how it can help us, and any questions that people may have on them, and the different types of bracing that we'll have. Hope everyone's had a great exam period here and is successfully done. So Mike's just joining in here. Hi, everyone. We'll see if get him to join in here. It looks like it. Perfect. Awesome. Hey, Mike.
Hi, Steve. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Yeah, not bad. Just ready to start this ever exciting holiday season where we'll stay right where we are.
Yeah.
But yeah, how's it going? Everything okay?
Yeah, everything's good. Yeah, I was just kind of talking to everybody, telling what we're going to talk a bit about today about bracing and different questions and comments that people typically have with bracing in the athletic world or generally in the general population. So, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. Yeah, well, maybe if you want, I can maybe dive into some questions that I've received that I would typically probably forward to yourself. So I guess to start off, basically, kind of what is the purpose of wearing a knee brace or an elbow brace or something? And I think you had kind of just grazed the surface there as to maybe who would be wearing one. Is it just for athletes? Is it your kind of general population? Is it
Mhm.
someone who had been in an accident as rehabilitating? Or is it someone who maybe has been suffering some kind of discomfort and pain and when they're doing certain movements in their workouts? And then perhaps they've always thought about maybe getting a brace. So maybe kind of touch on that as far as the purpose.
Yeah. So basically, yeah, all the above with a lot of those different situations. But bracing is basically typically used to help support an injury while you're going through it. So it's not necessarily going to completely protect it 100%, but it does help protect the area while it's healing. So a common example that I use often, right, a sprained ankle, right? They sprain the ligament in their ankle. Maybe they get it taped if they're an athlete, or you can get a brace from the store to
Right.
support it and give it that stability while it's healing. When we're injured with a ligament type of injury, we want to try and protect its range of motion as best as possible, so allow the ligament to heal while still being able to function and do what you need to do. And that's what a lot of the bracing does.
Okay.
On it that way. Other ones that you talked about, different types of things, is sometimes we use different bracing to help take off pressure onto tendons, for example. So a very common one a lot of people see is the little strap around below the knee,
Yeah.
patellar tendon strap. So what it actually does is it tricks the tendon. It creates a new line of force, so it's not pulling from its insertion point to allow the tendon to heal up a little bit. So
Wow.
it kind of has different purposes than say like that ankle brace that we were talking about before for the stabilization with ligaments versus helping with a tendon or a muscle.
Okay. Okay. Wow. No, that's excellently put. And I think some look more advanced than others and are quite intimidating when you see
Yeah.
someone working out in the gym and they're doing a leg exercise and you're almost kind of like, oh my goodness, hopefully they're not hurting themselves. And there's that hesitation involved, I would imagine, for a lot of people that are wearing one.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess before we maybe move on to a different question is, let's say I'm someone who's been struggling with some knee pain and I want to continue maybe training for my 5K run that I'm doing in the spring, let's say. What's the first step to maybe seeing someone to figure out whether or not I need one? So
Mm-hmm.
how would someone go about doing that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's so many different braces on the market for different conditions on each one, right? So first steps would be to see either your family doctor or a trained professional like an athletic therapist or a physiotherapist or something like that to assess what's exactly going on, so they can help kind of maybe direct you into what product would be best for you.
Okay.
Especially in the knee, there's so many different types of braces. There's the strap. There's ones to help track and control the way that your patella or your kneecap moves. there's different ones like that. So making sure that you get the right one for your injury or your discomfort is going to go a long way in making sure that it's actually working for you and doing the benefits versus getting something that might not help you, but so you don't want to waste your money on getting something that's not going to really help you for what you need, right? So
Yeah.
for sure,
Okay.
it's right product for you.
Awesome. Yeah, no, obviously that would be, and then you can kind of get referred and then, like you said, see someone that would specialize in doing that and then obviously help you with your rehab plan and everything. And I'm going to kind of tie into something I was going to ask at the end of our discussion, but I'm going to kind of squeeze it in now. And it's, let's say I've been wearing one for, let's say 6 months, which was the recommendation from my practitioner. And then I feel good and I feel like I can remove it, or should I? And what's the guidelines when it comes to progression, and do you take it off? Is it done forever, or is it something that you should use permanently?
Yeah. So the short answer is it kind of varies on it, really. The kind of rule of thumb, really, I mean, as far as physiologic, if you sprained your ligament, it actually takes up to 12 months or over a year for that ligament to fully heal. So ideally, you should be wearing something to help protect it for that full length of time. Now, you could be fully back into your activity long before that, but the process of the body actually healing that ligament takes some over a year to do so. So supporting it through that process should be done with it. Some people like to wear it once they've already gone through all that as a preventative measure as well.
Okay.
To help decrease the chances of re-injuring that ligament or joint or anything like that.
Right.
Well, you see a lot of athletes will get taped for games and stuff like that, not necessarily because they currently have an injury, but they've either had one in the past or don't want to re-injure it or make things worse with it. Now, you can definitely still get injured while taped or braced with it, but it can decrease the severity, which means that you can return back to your support, your activity a lot quicker if the severity isn't as bad as with it. So some people will wear it as a preventative measure. Others will wear it just while they're in that recovery phase. And it also depends on if it's a brace that you're going to be wearing while playing your activity or your sport, or if it's a brace that you're wearing post-surgery, for example, where you're having complete limit range of motion on it to help let the body heal during a certain time frame. And then you would get out of that and progress your therapy and maybe transition into a different brace to support it at that point.
Perfect. And that's a great segue to my next question, which is you had kind of touched on different types of bracing and maybe for different circumstances and different situations that you'd be in. But then let's talk maybe about comparing, or maybe not so much comparing one versus the other, but you obviously there's a lot of products available, third-party aftermarket products that I could just go to Sport Check and buy myself, compression sleeves and different types of taping and things like that maybe people will just do on their own. Obviously, there's different costs differences when we're comparing these. But what's really the major extreme differences between, let's say, something more cost efficient and easy Band-Aid effect versus the bracing?
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, definitely different types you touch on, like the compression sleeves versus something that's maybe hard and rigid, or something that's a little bit more pliable with it onto it. So kind of really depends on what the needs are. If you're looking to maybe you have a little bit of swelling, or you just want some support on a muscle, then compression sleeve is something like that would be really good to use to help kind of, just as the name implies, it compresses the muscle or the joint to help push swelling out or keep swelling out or stabilize a little bit.
Okay.
Is more of a stabilizing brace, like an ankle brace or a knee brace that you see athletes and stuff wearing, is there more to protect the ligaments. So you can still move the joint, but it's mimicking what the ligaments would do to stabilize themselves externally to help support it a little bit on it that way. And there's also the post-op ones or complete limitation products, right, that are going to be there to completely immobilize the joint to allow it to heal post-surgery or post-injury before you can start moving.
Right. Okay, yeah. By that point, obviously, you'll have a great idea based on recommendations from practitioners,
Mhm.
obviously, which choice you should be making for the proper recovery.
Of course.
And then a follow-up question is once you're wearing it, and a lot of people maybe are hesitant to continue doing certain activities because of maybe the limited range of motion or the bulkiness or the feel to it, that if you're playing a certain sport, let's say hockey, and I've played hockey my whole life, and I have a guy next to me and he's got the knee brace on and he's trying to get the pads over it.
Yeah.
So obviously there's certain recommendations that you should avoid, but at the same time, there are certain things you can continue doing. So how can you adapt and make the best of it while wearing that, that brace all the time?
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely a different feel. If you've never worn anything like that before, it's a different feel to be able to play sport. It feels like it's limiting you, but the whole idea really behind the brace is that you can still move, but it's protecting you in those what we call end ranges of your joint play, right? So
Right.
that end range where the ligament or the tendon is going to take you to, that we don't want to go past, create that injury. That's what the product is there for. So
Yeah.
the biggest thing is practice with it, right? Don't just wear it for games. Get used to wearing it, and the more you wear it, the product, the more comfortable you're going to feel with it. Definitely, certain sports like where you have equipment, there's that and it comes into play on trying to get the shin pads or different things over top of products. So that's where sometimes different products are a little bit thinner or
Okay.
bulkier that you can play with, or you modify the padding itself, like the shin pads. You can flail them out a little bit and different
Right.
we can make to those type of things. People always say, especially like those big knee braces that you see, people are like, I can't run in that. I'm like, I always point out, college football players. Have you ever watched college football? Every offensive lineman wears one on both knees. So if they can play college football wearing one on both knees, you can wear one on one of your legs play to go running, right? So
Right. Right. Good point. Yeah.
yeah. So it's just a matter of getting used to it and getting the feel of it for sure. Yeah.
Okay, okay. I think that pretty much summarizes what they're all about and the different approaches and different types. So that's really informative.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe just to kind of finish off our quick discussion here is from obviously being athletic therapist. Obviously, you've seen a lot of athletes with them, and perhaps they ask a lot of questions or they don't wear it when they're supposed to, and things like that. Do you have any additional information or maybe some of the myths or misconceptions or anything you want to touch on?
Yeah, a lot of people are always are afraid of wearing it because they think that if they wear it, their muscles are going to get weaker by wearing the
Oh,
product, or that they're going to not have the strength that they need to because they're wearing this that's limiting their movement and that sort of idea, which is kind of a bit of a myth. So if you can move the joint and stuff, you're using the muscles, so your muscles aren't going to get weaker. Plus, most of the time, you're only wearing it for a couple hours a day. So you're not going to completely atrophy your muscles by wearing a product that you can still move through the range of motion by only wearing
right.
it hours of day. Where you lose your muscle strength and girth and stuff onto it, and the muscle atrophies is in those products where you're completely immobilized and
Okay.
not the muscles or the joints at all. And sometimes that's a necessity to allow the injury to heal up on
Yeah.
its way. So that's the biggest myth I think that I hear a lot from people, is that they don't want to become reliant on it or feel like they're losing their strength and their muscles onto it that way, which again, if you can move it, muscles are moving. So
Okay. Okay. No, that's awesome. And so, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. I think we just wanted to keep this as general as possible. I can just tell from my experience, I don't have any wearing one, that is, and I hope
that's a good
that
thing.
I don't have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I can tell you, I obviously know a few people that use it regularly for obviously for certain activities, and so that kind of helps. And even with our case now, with our fitness classes that we've been doing for you guys virtually, and we've had a few different questions from some of the participants that are participating in the classes, whether it's a cardio or a muscular strength, high intensity training kind of class, and maybe sometimes they you can kind of see they're wearing one, or that maybe they have a discomfort that possibly would be something of interest to them that might help with supporting and stability and things like that. So hopefully this has been helpful for you guys. I just want to say thanks, Steve, for obviously giving us that summarizing of something important that is very functional and practical. So other than that, I don't have any other questions. I think that's pretty much it, unless you wanted to finish off with anything.
No, like I said, I mean, hopefully, like you said, it gives everyone a little bit insight into the different types of products out there, and maybe one for that one's right for them, and how to go about finding one that writes for them. But yeah, other than that, I hope everyone enjoys their holidays, and this is our last for the season, so I hope everyone has a great holiday and a happy New Year, and hopefully we get back to in-person training and everything and working with everybody soon, right?
Yeah, I hope so too. I agree. And yeah, this, I guess, is our last official session as a department right now. So another thank you to everyone who has followed along with us all year. I was going to say all semester, but I don't even remember how long it's been now at this point. But obviously, yeah. So thanks again. And we're obviously going to be here come January with a lot more tips and Ask a Trainer series and a brand new series that we'll be introducing in the winter semester. So like Steve said, happy holidays, everyone. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and we'll see you in next year. Okay, guys?
Thanks, Mike. Take care.
All right. Thanks, Steve. See you guys.
Bye.